Okay, good evening, everyone. We want to continue our study. We're talking about building healthy relationships, and we are looking at the building blocks. You remember which building block we are at now? Remember? Honesty. Alright, because we had looked at mutual respect, we looked at trust, and our current one is honesty. In looking at this, we remember we had stated that honesty and trust, they basically work hand in hand, because honesty builds trust, but dishonesty erodes trust. If you cannot be honest, chances are people won't trust you. Alright? We were looking at some points regarding, and I think maybe one of the most important things that we had said was when we read that scripture in John 8 and 41 to 44, when Jesus had this encounter with the scribes and the Pharisees, and he told them that their father, they thought their father was Abraham, but he said, Abraham is not your father. Because if Abraham was your father, you would do the things that your father does, that Abraham would do. But you're seeking to kill me, right? And that's not Abraham's style. That style is more like the enemy, the devil. He says, you are of your father, the devil, because he was a murderer. He's a murderer. And he's a liar from the beginning, right? And not only that, but he says whenever he speaks in his native language. He speaks in the language of lies. That's how he speaks. Everything he says is a lie. And he says, and then Jesus closed by saying, you are of your father, the devil. He is the father of lies. And I guess if our father is the devil, then we become his children. Those who are liars become his children. I think maybe that was the takeaway that we had last time. Alright? So we're going to be asking a question. I don't have any access to what's going on at the back, so I'll have to turn and see what's on here. We want to look at this question. Building block 3, honesty. This question. Why is dishonesty practiced in relationships? Not just church relationships, but just relationships in general. Why do people tell lies? Right? We did it?
Yeah, we did it. Most of them were saying to protect ourselves, our reputation, etc.
Yeah, and you remember anything else that we said? Because I don't think we did it in its entirety.
To look good.
To look good, to appear better and bigger than you really are. No, we were talking about protection, protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
So reputation would be a part of it. To protect, ourselves from punishment. Yeah, to protect ourselves from embarrassment, and also to protect ourselves from the consequences of a wrong action. Something that we did wrong, we want to protect and insulate ourselves against the consequences of that action. Alright? But the last one is, and maybe we should just fly down here and just look at them. Protect ourselves or someone. Sometimes it's to protect somebody else. Right? So you would tell a lie that the criminal is not under your bed to the police. You tell the police that. What you're trying to do, you're trying to protect the person who is there, but you're also being fearful. Right? You're afraid, so you tell a lie. But then any lie is a lie. A lie is a lie is a lie. Okay? We had already said that we can't quantify lies or qualify lies. No lie no bigger than any, so to speak. A lie is just a lie. Okay? So we said to appear bigger or better than we are. Look at that. And I don't know if we've reached here. Did we reach here?
No.
This is where we are, right? That's why I'm telling you we didn't finish all of that. Because we tell lies to flatter. To flatter somebody, and you know what flattery is. You know, when you're flattering people, what is your goal?
To let them feel better, or to let them see you favorable.
To make them see you favorable, or to make them feel better, or to what we call butter them up, to Americans would say to brown nose them.
Yes.
Brown nosing somebody, and it's usually to get a favor from them or to make them think highly of you, right? So you would tell, yes, Sister Alicia, I said, well, Sister Alicia, I love the hairstyle, right? Really and truly, it's the hairstyle that she has worn all the time, right? And you're seeing it as if it is new. Yeah. But there is something that maybe you want from Alicia. So you might tap her later on and say, Alicia, XYZ, you're looking a favor from her, right? People do that in relationships. It even happens in husband and wife relationships, the same thing, right? The husband wants something from the wife, and he flatters her, right? He's not sincere in what he's saying. He's just saying it because he wants to accomplish something. He wants something out of the deal. Alright? So flattery is something that it's insincere speech, and it is a lie. Okay? Because you're not being genuine, you're not being sincere, so you're telling a lie. Okay? Alright? Okay, let's see. Go ahead.
If you're not telling a lie, what would be the word?
If you're not telling a lie?
Yeah, you're not flattering.
Complimenting. You're complimenting the person. It's a compliment, and you're giving them a sincere compliment. It's not a backhanded compliment, right? It's not telling them that them look good because you want something from them, or you want them to think a particular way about you, right? You want to look nice. Okay? People do that from time to time. Okay? But it's not something that the Christian should work with. All right. Just before we do that, there is something that I want to look at, but I think my slides are missing now. All right. There's something that comes before that. I'm not seeing it, but I want to deal with it. Okay. All right. Let me continue. Let's see where we go. Okay. Go ahead. All right. Why do we practice dishonesty? We practice dishonesty because it's a habit. Just a sheer force of habit that we have perfected. Okay? We become habitual liars. Right? People some people are like that. And I want us to look at a particular thing that happens when we practice lying. When we practice dishonesty, there is something, it doesn't stop there. Okay? It doesn't stop at you just telling lies habitually. Right? It goes on further. And that's what sin usually is, you know. Sin takes us further than we really want to go. Right? So if we continue to practice lies and living a life of deceit, something is going to happen to us. Alright? Alright, so here we go. What we say here? Oh, come on. Lying can become a habit that can be extremely difficult to break. Just like any sin. But this one, we have to be so careful of this one, because since this one identifies us with the devil. You get me? Lying straight up identifies us with the devil. The father of lies and we become his children. So straight up, once we begin to lie, then we are identified with Satan. But look at this. There is a particular kind of liar that is called the okay, let's go back. We're going up too fast. We're going too fast. Alright. Alright, okay, here we go. I think it's here now. I don't know what's happening to my okay. The pathological liar. Right? You remember in the house at one point, one of the members of the house say that somebody is pathologically mendacious. Remember that saying? Who it was again?
KD9.
KD9 was the person who said it. That you're being pathologically mendacious. He was just using the term, but I don't think he understood exactly what he was saying. Because somebody who is a pathological liar is somebody who actually don't want to have a disease. A pathology is the science of diseases. Pathology, that's what it is. So it's almost like somebody has a mental health issue. You see what I'm trying to show you? That it will go further than where you want it to go. Because you never wanted it to affect your mental health. But it will. If we continue, our mental health will become affected by lies. By just continuing to lie. So there is a name for it. They call a person like that a mythomania. They always telling myths and fables, right? All right. So I want us to look at this because we may know persons who are like this, and we cannot understand why they behave like this. So I want to show you basically the features of somebody who has become a pathological liar. And so you can understand better when you see them act in a certain way, right? You will understand, say, okay, it's a pathology. They are affected even psychologically because they have told so many lies. All right? So let's go. The pathological lie. First thing about it. They cannot stop lying even when it causes them psychological distress or causes psychological distress to others. They can't stop lying. So even though they feel sometimes bad about what they have said, they can't help themselves. They can't stop. Even when it is happening, they are under stress, psychological distress. They still cannot stop lying. They will not stop lying. She's not hearing.
She's not seeing the speaker. She's not seeing the slides.
All right. We corrected that, I think. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. So what happens? This is a feature of the person who is a pathological liar. Okay. They can't stop lying, even though there is some psychological distress that they are causing to you. So they'll be in the home and they know that frustration, you're getting frustrated, you're getting fed up with this thing, and they can't stop even though they know, and them say they love you, they love you. But they can't stop even though they know that it's causing you so much emotional and psychological distress. They're not stopping. Alright? Alright, now here is a feature about those who we want to classify as pathological liars. Usually, what they are going through is what is based on something that has happened to them, right? So usually it begins at a young age. When they start the line, they start at a young age, and it is usually associated with some kind of trauma or some kind of abuse that has taken place in their lives. right? So something happened to them at a young age, and they start lying there, and it becomes a habit that they don't grow up. Okay? So as you try to help them and try to work with them, you realize that they will need counseling. They will need counseling, not necessarily to deal with the pathological lying, but to deal with the root cause of it. What has caused this person to become like this? And usually it will be something in their past. Something happened to them. And as a result of that, they start to lie. It could be something like, maybe, let's look at it, let's take a scenario. It could be like a child who is being abused, being molested sexually, and fearful to speak about it, and having to tell lies about it, right? So they would live a lie, actually, because of fear. Maybe they were threatened, or maybe they just know that, boy, they can't tell their mother because their mother would believe them. And their mother would beat them and say that they are the fault for it. So they don't say anything. Right? So they are under this emotional trauma. Right? Traumatized by what is happening to them and the fact that they cannot speak the truth about it. You seeing the link? They can't speak the truth about what is affecting them. And so they end up telling lies. And they tell lies easily because they believe that if they told the truth, nobody would believe them.
I had a co-worker that he would just like me in the canteen at the lunch, and he would come and sit down, you know, have a bench coming on the wall, or table next to me.
Yeah, we're coming to that. We're coming to that aspect of them because that's a part of the pathology of lying that happens to them, right? We're going to look at that elder, okay? But yeah, somebody just comes to you and they just tell you something, and you know it's lying. They told
you next week. Oh, you said it.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Right. We get there. Okay? So it's usually something that's associated with trauma or abuse. So what happened is that sometimes we want to murder the person who tells a lie. And we want to condemn them and we want to put them down to the pits of hell. Because that's where all liars going. But then we don't understand what is causing them to be like that. There is a reason for them to be like that. People don't just up and tell lies pathologically like that, right? But they can't stop lying. Something has happened to them, and that is what we need to work on, right? What is causing them to be like that? I'm not giving them an out, you know. Don't think I'm giving them a way out. I'm giving them a get out of jail free card. No, they are still responsible for what they are doing. But I'm saying that usually it is associated with some kind of abuse or some kind of trauma, and they need help. Even though they don't think they need help, but they need help. Right? Okay, let's move on. They can't stop lying even when faced with the truth. So even when the truth faces them, they're not accepting the truth. Alright? So you tell them, but look here. But this is it. See, I found the book in your bag. My bag? No, it wasn't my bag. You couldn't have found it in my bag. Yes, it's in your bag I found. No. So they actually want to make it look like you are lying. So they can't stop lying even when the truth faces them. They will still continue to tell lies. And remember, it is a pathology that we're dealing with. It is a disease that we're dealing with. And you know that a disease has symptoms, right? So you can't just say to yourself that if you have fever, you have COVID. Because you have fever, you have COVID? No. COVID have some symptoms and signs that they have to work with to come to that diagnosis that is COVID. So there are some people who will not tell the truth even when faced with it. But they are not necessarily pathological liars. It would mean that the truth, facing the truth, is they consider that to be so embarrassing or so dangerous to them that they tell a lie. So what we have to do, we have to look at the pathological liar as a whole. Not as a one thing, but as a whole. Okay, you understand? Because the pathological liar will have these features. Alright? All of them. Not just some, but every one of them they will have. Okay? Alright? Okay, let's move on. They tell detailed lies. When they tell you a lie, it's not just a regular lie like somebody would tell you. No. It is a lie with so much detail in it that you are tempted to believe them.
And the level of detail, they will mix truth in there with the lies, so you don't know what. So, say for instance, they're telling you a lie, and you, whatever they're saying to you, a part of it you would have experienced, so you know, you can't tell a lie on that. So they give you the truth and then mix something else in with it. They don't even know what is what.
Coming to that, we have a mic, so we can get to it. And the listening audience love to listen. Right? So we want to get a mic around. Alright. So they will say to you an exact time at 8:15. How they know that detail? What would force them to be looking at their time to know that it's exactly 8:15? But that's what they do. They tell you lies that are detailed. They will tell you what color pants this person, almost like somebody, one of these super witnesses who are able to have photographic memories, and when they go to court they could remember exactly how tall the person was, or what they had on, whether they had on sandals or they had on a tracksuit, what color it was, everything. And just a passing glance and they could be able to tell you that. But that's how they behave. They tell you some lies in detail. Right? And what the purpose is, remember the pathological liar, the purpose is to get the other person that they are lying to believe them. Alright? That's the purpose. That's a fundamental purpose. Alright? Let me go down and get some more here. They tell dramatic and highly unlikely stories. So, an example that I use is this, is that they would be coming home late. Sister Beth. They come home, they reach home at 10 o'clock. They know the consequences of reaching home at 10 o'clock. Something will happen to them that's not going to be nice. So while they are on their way, they are concocting a story. And the story has to be one that will account for the time that they should have been there. So they should have been there, say, at 4 o'clock. It must account for the time between 4 and 10. So you know it's going to be dramatic. So they will tell you like, boy, I was coming down in the minibus, you know. And when we reach out by 3 miles, the 4 tire then burst. And we couldn't get everything coming from, there wasn't anything coming from Waterhouse to 3 miles. Everything was going to town. And when they're coming back from town, they're full. And my bus fare did last, so we couldn't even go on another one. And then they will tell you how long it takes the driver and the conductor to get the 4 tire fixed down by the tire. They will tell you where the tire shop is, even though they never got there. A tire shop on Walton Park, is that's where they went to get the tires patched and then we were able to come. And just as we move off, police stop with and turn back. The man go down to Huntsdale police station with all of us in there. And you see how it gets dramatic. It's almost like if you were to put all those things together, it's just too many things happening at the same time. Sometimes they tell you the truth is stranger than fiction. But I can tell you, their fiction is stranger than fiction. Yeah. The lies that they tell is stranger than a lie. Highly unlikely that you would have such a set of circumstances that would happen all at the same time. Right? And they will add some things to it. Gunman hold up when we were coming back. Gunman hold me up. Alright? And the driver have to run, drive, leave them, and then fire 2 shots after the bus and all the way off the door. And the story becomes dramatic. Dramatic could actually write the script of a movie from what they were saying. Right? So that is one other thing. Alright, let's go on. They tell lies when there is no reason to. That's what Brother Walker was alluding to. You never ask him anything. You don't ask them a thing, but they just come to you, and just like that man that elder was talking about, just come to you and say, you know that I just get a Benz on the wall for me, you know. You never ask him nothing. Right? But we're going to come to the next part now, Ralph, when he talks about itself. Right? We're going to come to that. They just tell a lie and they don't have to tell a lie. It's almost like what I would call the Ananias and Sapphira syndrome. Never had to tell that lie. Well, nobody asked them for the whole of the money anyway. So when they sold the property, and we're going to look at that a little bit. But when they sold the property, the money was theirs. They could do anything they want. They never even had to give it. But they decided that they were going to tell a lie about that money. Alright? So they tell lies when there is no reason to tell lies. Because they are always on their defensive. They always believe that, you know, I need somebody to believe. Need somebody, and that's why you're getting the picture that it is like a pathology, it's almost like a disease. I just want somebody to believe something that I'm saying, and so they will just say something. But it's not so, God. Alright? Okay? Alright. You can chime in anytime you want, alright? And I just move. They seem very unconcerned when you catch them in a lie. So they don't have any remorse. They don't have any apologies. They will never look at you and say, I am sorry I told you that lie. They will not do that. It's almost like, why you catch me now, you know, but I'm going to try and make you don't catch me again the next time. To them, that's their whole behavior. And you will find out why they behave like this. Right? Yes, Sam.
What about when they don't know? So you catch them in the lie, and then settle, and then you double down.
It's almost like what Elder was saying. You first lie, say ask them, so one of the Benz, how many don't see you drive the Benz? Oh, I sell it. So another lie is formed to cover for the lie that they told. And that's how they behave. Another lie is told. And a lie, just like any other sin, if it is practiced, it becomes a habit. You honestly, it becomes perfect. Right? And this is when you get the perfect liar. Right? Let's call it that. It's the perfect liar. The pathological liar has perfected the lie. Alright? And so they are not concerned when they are caught. and you kind of said, but you know, shame, you know, maybe they hang their head, but don't look to them to say, I lie. No, they're not going to say they lie. But we'll tell you why. I'll tell you why as we go. Okay? They put others in danger and they create relationship problems and they don't care. Some say that they don't care. They will put people whom they love and who loves them in danger. So they will make you go to prison with a lie. And it's almost as if they don't care. No business. They not recant their lie because they know that they will look bad. So they hold on to that lie and they will send you to prison. And they will put you in harm's way. Okay? And they cause serious relationship problems. Do you see how difficult it would be to have normal relationships with somebody like this? How can you bare your soul to somebody like this? So you see, and again I say, and I'll say again and again, what we practice is what we perfect. And we have to be careful. It's not just lying, any sin that we practice. Sin is addictive. It's addictive. It's like a drug. Right? So they put others in danger and they create a lot of relationship problems in the house. Relationship problems between husband and wife, brother and sister, and there are problems there based on their lies that they tell. Right? So they will tell a lie and they're a brother and cause problems in the house between them and the brother. Between the brother and the mother. You get me? Because of the lie that they told. So we have to be careful that we don't start the process. If we start the process, we can end up right here. Okay? We have to learn what the Bible talks about speaking. Okay? Come on. They are constantly changing or adding to their stories. So they will tell you, the story starts out with a boy, and it may end up with two boys. Yeah. So I was going down the road and a boy, and then when they tell the story again, it's two boys. It's almost like, you know, people say when you're going to be a lie, you have to have a good memory. It's almost like they don't business with memory now. They just tell it. Right? So their stories keep changing. Adding more and more substance. So the more you believe is the more they will want you to believe. So remember I was telling you about the minibus thing? They said the story just keeps adding more and more and more because you believe the first one. So therefore I want you to believe the next one and the next one and the next one. Pathology. Yeah. Alright? They get defensive when you are confronted with the truth. So they will look at you when you have them and you say, okay, this is the truth. Instead of admitting to the lie and even repenting, no. What they do is to make you look like you're not good, like you're wicked. So they would say something to you like this. Well, Sister Yvette, you really believe that I could do that? Huh? You don't mean me no good? So it's even they look bad now, you know. You don't mean me any good, eh? You don't mean me any good. If you can think of me that way, eh? It shows you what is inside of you. You're not a Christian. Yeah? And so they begin to accuse you, and when they confront you with the truth, they get so defensive that you'll almost want to believe them that they're telling the truth, except for the fact that you have evidence that is a lie. So they turn on you just to defend themselves. They will turn on the person, right? Or on the group, or wherever. They will turn on the group. No, that's why I need to come out of this family, you know. I need to come out of this family, yeah? Because when you think of me, yeah? That's what you think of me. You think I would steal the money, yeah? You think I'm a thief? They get defensive when they are confronted with the truth, right? They pass off someone else's story as their own. So to somebody that they know, you know. And boy, that story was really good. Therefore, I will adopt it. It will become my story. So they might hear, oh, Pastor Jackson nearly drowned. Right? Pastor Jackson might say, boy, you know, I nearly drowned, and this and this and this, and this is how I get saved, that somebody saved me and thing, and they say, well, like it. And they say, okay, I will now take that as my story. And they will come and they say, you know, so I nearly get drowned, you know. And this is how I was saved. And it's Pastor Jackson's story, you know, not theirs. But they take it to be theirs. That's a feature of the pathological liar. Let's continue. It's all done here. And here is the crux of the matter. This is why they cannot stop lying, because they believe their own lies. They end up believing that it is true. And that's why it's like a mental health problem, because they begin to believe the lies that they're telling. So when you confront them with the truth, but you're not telling any lies, what they said they believe. And that's why they will accept it as a lie. You understand me? Because in their own mind, it's the truth. They just told you the truth. But you don't want to believe it, and you think it's a lie. But I know it is the truth. They actually end up believing their own lies. And that's a critical position to be in, you know. When you tell a lie and you believe it. And you believe that the thing that I just said to you is not a lie. It is the truth. It is the truth. And this is the reason for the behavior. All the behavior that we're talking about, this is the reason for it. A gentleman that told you about the Mercedes Benz and the wharf, he believed himself. He believed that he was telling the truth. He believed it. And when he tell you that he sold it, he believed it. So you see why? You see why that's not normal? You see that is not normal behavior? There's something abnormal about that. Because if you don't have a Benz, if you never had one, and you never sold one, yet you believe that you had one and you sold one, you can say you have a mental health issue. It's a mental health problem. Right?
But many people post one people's fancy car and say, and post on them status, my new ride, all that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. Go ahead, okay.
Yeah, I was saying that many people sometimes go on the road and they see somebody's fancy vehicle, and they just pose and take a picture, and they say their new ride.
Their new ride, yeah. Yeah. And they might even beg the person to make them sit down behind the steering wheel and take a picture of them and say that's their ride. I'm not saying that those persons are suffering from a pathology, because remember the whole thing is the whole list of things we're looking at. That's just one part of it. That person might be doing so because they're suffering from pride. Pride. Excessive pride. So pride makes them tell that lie. They want to look bigger than they really are, or more important than they really are. Right? So they will take pictures beside Niagara Falls, and Niagara Falls is false because they're not there. It's just a picture of Niagara Falls, and they would tell you, boy, I was at Niagara Falls, you know. And they would tell you some exotic places that they were, and there's some exotic foods that they eat, and everything they would want to show you and lay it out for you, so that you can understand that them are no DB squads, right? Them on top and top. Follow? Some people actually do that, and it's real. Again, caused by pride. Some people do it and it's real. They were there, they did that, they, you know, bought the t-shirt, everything. But that's just straight up pride looking at you. They were struck by the spirit of pride. Alright? But there are others who just can't reach up to their self, but they want to make you think that they have reached there. Alright? Okay. You see that one there? A pathological liar will pass a lie detector test. Why they will pass the lie detector test is because they believe their own lie. So they will not react the way that the machine would respond. Alright, we have Alright. Okay, it's gone now. Alright. We should get back to our topic. But you see, the lie detector responds to things like increased heartbeat, pulse beat, and stuff like that. Some of them even respond to a particular neurology in the brain, alright? Or brain waves, etc. Well, if you believe that what you are saying is true, how can the lie detector pick up that is a lie? You're not going to react the way that liars react. Your heartbeat is going to be the same. You just say that that's a lie. That's why they use, when they're doing the lie detector test, they use what we call base. They use base results. So they would say, what is your name? And you answer your name. Alright, where you live? And you answer. Because you know where you live and you know your name, so you will tell the truth. And they see how you respond when you are speaking the truth. Well, they will find no difference with the pathological lie. Truth and lie is the same thing. Yeah. So this one now says that they can look straight into the person's eye and tell you the truth. Don't even think that you would want to know whether they are telling lies or truth by looking in them eyes. Stop it. You can't. They can look straight into your eye and tell you the biggest lie there is on earth. Look straight in your eyes and tell you with a straight face. And it comes back to the fact that they believe what they're saying. So you're not going to see them eye float. No. They look straight in your eye and tell you the truth. Whoa. That's a person that you really want to be afraid of. Yeah, a dangerous person this. Right? This is a dangerous individual. A pathological lie. Alright? Okay, let me see if I can go on to something else. Alright. So I told you all of that simply because I want you to recognize the pathology when you see it, so that you don't think that it is just something natural or just that they are just liars or no. That there is, I want you to know that there is something else associated with people who behave like that. There's something else associated with them. Right? Not just the fact that they are telling lies, but all of these features add up to something. Add up to a particular person. Alright? The mythomaniac. Okay. We'll look at some examples of dishonesty. Okay? See if we can close off on this. Some examples of dishonesty. That people don't consider. Sometimes people don't consider that they are telling lies when they do this. Exaggeration. So if I go to fish and I caught a fish, and I come back to you and tell you that the fish is when the fish is, I just tell you a lie. I have exaggerated, right? I have added something that was not there, right? And a lot of people do that without even thinking. They exaggerate. They are giving accounts of stuff and they embellish it so that it can look better than it really was. So they would tell you about their life and they would tell you about, and let me tell you something, the person who likes to talk a lot is prone to exaggeration. If you love chat, yeah, you just love chat. Or talk, especially to talk about yourself. If you love to talk about yourself, you will be prone to exaggerate some of the details about yourself. Alicia.
I was asking, what about people who are just naturally dramatic or the excitement of it? Because, for example, a child caught a fish for the first time fishing. The moment it was big, it was really huge. It's just the excitement of it, but the truth is it was really exaggerated. How would you separate, you know? I mean, a lie is a lie, but exaggeration in terms of over-telling a lie and exaggeration in terms of excitement.
I'm just trying to remember this from my days of teaching English. There is something that is called a euphemism, which is an understatement. So you understate something, or you make some things not look as bad as they really are. Right? I'm trying to remember the one now when you overstate what's called. But sometimes people would overstate things. And then they use figures of speech. They will say, Mommy, I saw 1 million butterflies. They didn't see 1 million butterflies. They're not really lying. But as far as they are concerned, it's a whole heap. And so they use that. Right? But they're not telling you a blatant lie. Right? And you would understand that. And they didn't see 1 million because they don't even know what 1 million butterflies look like. Okay? But sometimes figures of speech are used that blow something, and it's a figure of speech. We know that. Listen, all right, I'll give you an example of what not to do. When the President of the United States stands up before a crowd of 5,000 people and then says that, you know, there were over 500,000 people there, that's a lie. Straight up lie. Because you know the difference between 5,000 and 500,000. So this is not an overstatement. This is not a figure of speech. Right? So you would be telling a blatant lie. Alright? If I stand up before a crowd of 5,000 people and I say, you know, there must have been about 7,000 people there. I am not lying. Neither am I exaggerating, because for me to know the difference between 5 and 7,000, it's slim, it's too slim for me to know that. Right? But if I know that stadium seats 20,000 people, and I tell you that I hold a concert at stadium and it had 100,000 people there, then that is a lie. Stadium only hold 20,000. Right? You follow? So there is that difference between somebody using a figure of speech. And we see figures of speech like that in the Bible. Right? Yeah. We have figures of speech like that in the Bible, where a person is using a word picture so that you can understand, you can get the picture, so to speak, that it was wholly or it was a little bit. But I'm talking about the person whose fish gets bigger all the time. So what happened is it was this when you talk to Brother Jackson, when you talk to Brother Walker, it becomes this. And when you talk to Don, it is this. When you talk to Cliff, it becomes this. That's not figure of speech, no. That's blatant lie. That's exaggeration, okay? Alright? Another one. When you withhold relevant information. Some people will think that they are not lying, but they are withholding information that is relevant to the situation. So that's why when you go to court, you hear them say that you must swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Because there is a truth named the whole truth. We will come to the other one, the half truth. But yeah, there's a whole truth. And so what happens when we and you know, when I find this happening, when people withhold relevant information, you know when it usually happens? When people have conflict situations and they come and tell you their side. And that's why you can't just work with one side of a story, because they will tell you their side and they will withhold information about sorry. They will tell you their side in the sense that how the person affected them. Sorry again, right? But they will not tell you how their actions affected the person and what they did to the person. They will just tell you what the person did to them. Right? And so when you take the one side of a story, you work with it, you are being silly, you're not being wise. Right? Because as them said, there are two sides, three sides them said to a story. Your side, my side, and the truth. So you all have to try to get parties together to work and see what was the truth. Right? Hello? Because people will withhold information that is relevant, that you need to know. That if you didn't know that, you would have said something different. Right? Did you really tell the person bad word? Did you do that? Yes, I did. Then why you didn't tell me that? Because that's why the person reacted the way that did. You know, kind of thing. We hold back information. And when we do that, we are lying. We actually are telling a lie. Because we're not telling the whole truth. Moving on.
For instance, if I saw you, I saw Brother Jackson, and I see you sleeping, but I think Brother inform the person that you were sleeping or you were talking to, and I said, guess what? They might want to know in what state you were, and I just said, sorry, without giving much information. That's the mistake. Is that lying?
Yeah. You see, as long as them knowing what state I was in is important, and you decided you were going to withhold it, you told a lie. Because it was important to them to know what Brother Jackson was doing. What was he doing? Maybe they wanted to come check Brother Jackson. I said, well, Brother Jackson sleeping, or Brother Jackson, you don't say anything like that. You say, Brother just saw him. What was he? What state was he in? And you say, boy, you don't answer, you don't give a response. then you're withholding information that is relevant to the situation. Remember, you can't always withhold information, you know. You don't have to tell everybody everything, you know. Right? But if the information is relevant to the situation, then, and you withhold it deliberately, you are lying. Right? You're lying. So the policeman asks you, did you see a man run across the yard? And you say, yes, I saw him run across the yard. And you know that the policeman needs to know that he run into your fold, right? At the back of your yard, and you say nothing, you are withholding relevant information, you are lying. That's simple as that. Because that's not the whole truth of the situation. There's something more that you're not saying. And usually we do that to protect ourselves. Yeah? And that's what we said. Remember, we started out by saying it, that lies are told to protect yourself. So usually we want to protect ourselves and we tell that lie. Right? Or we want to protect someone else. That's what we had said. Bracket. Okay. Half-truths. This is the most dangerous lie that there is. I told you before that, you have heard me say this before, that if you say, if you have a clock, for argument's sake, that is saying 4 o'clock, when the time is 12 o'clock, that's a blatant lie, you know that. That's why it can't be true, this clock can't be right. But if at 12 o'clock the clock is saying 1 minute to 12, or 2 minutes to 12, or 5 minutes to 12, it's hard for you to know whether that clock is telling a lie or not. So the half-truth is the devil's tool. That's what he uses. He can't bother with the blatant lie because he knows you'll figure it out. So he comes pretty close to the truth. Very close. He's almost within touching distance of the truth. And leaves it right there. Did God say? No. You're not going there. God knows that when you eat, something's going to happen to you. You're going to have a particular kind of knowledge that He doesn't want you to have. That's true. That part is true. God knows that He doesn't want you to touch it because this is what He's holding back from you. Don't touch that tree. That tree is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So you'll know something that God don't want you to know. But then when He says, you shall not surely die, that's the lie. That's the lie. So it's half-truth. We have to be careful about the half-truth because the half-truth puts a lie into the truth. Weaves a lie into the truth. It's almost like I give you a bottle of water to drink, but I put 2 drops of poison in it. Yeah, that's a half-truth dangerous. Right? As far as you know, it's water you're drinking, but then you don't know that there are 2 drops of poison in it, cyanide in it. So dangerous half-truths are. Yes, Donnie. Go ahead.
What about the people who, for instance, something is happening and one person is there, and when everything finished, two story the difference. Because when someone away you see, and you was there, and the person was there.
Yeah, but it happens, you know, those things can happen in real life. If you look at the Gospels, for argument's sake, there are some things that Matthew would see and note that Mark or Luke wouldn't see and note. That's how the Gospels are, you know. That's why you have to have a harmony of the Gospels. You have to look at them all together to get the full story. Why? because these people are individuals, and some things are important to some people, and some things are unimportant to some people. So for argument's sake, I can look at a scene right here now, and I could say, okay, I could say the amount of people who are here. That is what is important to me. That's what I'm looking for. But then somebody might say, how many men are here? That's what they are looking for. But I was looking for that. I was looking for everybody. And somebody was just looking at the men. And they would quote that 5 men, 3 men, 5 men, 7 men, whatever they saw as men, they would quote that number. Say, you know, but they wouldn't look at everybody generally. While one person would look at everybody generally and not even differentiate between man and woman.
One can get details of clothes and
right, features, different identifying marks or something. Some people can look at people and they see what they see. It's not what you see. You see something totally different. You never even saw this scar on their forehead, but somebody saw it. And so you would say, the two of you would stand up there and say, I would say, boy, she has a scar on her forehead. And then you would say, no, I never seen a scar. It's like you tell it. It's because you were looking for that scar. You never saw it. But I saw it. And maybe the reason I saw it is because I have a scar pretty much close like that. And so I'd say, boy, you know, what much do you have a scar that look almost like my scar, you know? And that's why I notice it. Well, you don't have no reason to notice it, so you never even see it. You follow? So stories can differ based on individuals, because individuals have their own unique style, their own whatever distinctive features that they are looking for. And it don't have to be like that. Right? Go ahead.
Some people pay more attention than others.
Yeah. Remember, we're talking about it that some people have almost like a photographic memory. And when they look, they can see some things that the normal person wouldn't see. Right? But that wouldn't be lying. Right? It's just that the scores are different because one have more detail than the other. Right? Okay. But some people would generally do that and lie still. I mean, yeah. But I'm telling you that it doesn't have to be a lie. Alright? We're gonna close here for tonight. And thank you so much for sharing. And we will pick it up, but there are a couple more things that we need to look at on this list. We will look at that next week, God's willing. And come back. Make sure you are here. Make sure you are here a little bit early. And come and help us to settle. Alright?